I honestly didn't have the energy to make this video, but I've been watching like so many fucking videos like with so much bullshit about feminism, and it's always like really white feminism, really cisgender feminism, and like it just doesn't, it's not intersectional, so for me it's just bullshit. Like, so if it's only white feminism, it's just bullshit. It's just white supremacy. It means nothing. Like all these like movements that have been like going on about so-called feminism, like especially with us like famous white women and cisgender, is just bullshit because it doesn't cover the main problem. And if it doesn't support all kinds of women, then it's not feminism. It's bullshit. It's literally bullshit. So I'm gonna explain like a bit, like from the perspective of a trans woman, what feminism is or should be, not to be fucking problematic and just bullcrap. So first of all, I think that like loads of people get wrong is the aim of feminism. Obviously, like I'm not gonna go to the basics. Like obviously, feminism is not about women being over men or like having more power. That's just just again bullshit. But its aim is also not gender equality or equity or whatever. Because like a lot of people think it's about both genders, because obviously there's only the two genders, like fuck that. But anyway, it's a lot of people think it's about like both genders being equal, having equal rights and all that stuff. That's not totally accurate. Like the main aim of feminism is or should be the liberation of women. And if women get the liberation that we need to get, then one of the consequences would be gender equality. And also like because so many men go, oh, and then why is not there like a movement for men, because we're also oppressed, like so oppressed because we're men and we have to hold back our feelings, and we can't cry, and oh my god, we're so oppressed, blah, 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 blah. So another consequence of feminism would actually be like beneficial to men, but mainly like it wouldn't. Like feminism is not something that men want, and that's because like talking about power dynamics, like men have always been above women. Like they have always had more power than us, and they have more rights than us. So even though like thanks to the patriarchy, like they do suffer at some extent, they benefit from it. Like they benefit from the patriarchy. That's why it's called like that. Then again, I'm gonna be talking about like obviously about transgender as well. Well, first of all, gender is a social construct. Like it's not a thing really. It's just something society created. Another thing, a lot of people go, oh, if you think that gender is just something that's been constructed, then why do you make this difference between men, women, or non-binary people and stuff like that? And it's because like simply because we live in a society, in a world that has gender. That gender has been created. We can't just ignore it. Like it's there. Like it's a thing. Because humans have created it, but it's a thing. So in a perfect world, there would be no gender, so people wouldn't care about like your gender. Like it wouldn't be a thing. It just wouldn't be a thing. And sexual orientation wouldn't be a thing, and race wouldn't be a thing. Or the bullshit wouldn't be a thing. It just wouldn't be a thing. So like it would be perfect, but we don't live in that world. So we have to like fit in one box, because otherwise we just don't exist. Like if you don't say if you're trans, and you don't say you're trans, or if there is no term to refer to trans people or like racialized people or like whoever, then you just don't exist. So we need those terms and we need those boxes, because otherwise we just don't exist. Like there is no place for us in this world. So we need that. Also, like when people talk to me, like when they come to me and they start talking about fucking biology, like genetics and all that stuff, like I just lose my shit. They start like talking about, oh no, but because like genetically you are a man because blah blah blah, because you have these certain chromosomes, and if you didn't have these chromosomes, then you may have been a woman, blah blah blah. And I'm like, okay, like back off, because that's total bullshit. Again, that's another thing. Chromosomes do determine some things, like they can determine your height or your weight, or you know, like the state of your heart, like if you're gonna be having like any heart diseases and stuff like that. But it states nothing at all whatsoever about gender. Like gender identity is one thing, then your chromosomes like have nothing to do with your gender. Like they can be, again, gender expression is another thing that's being constructed. So I can't just ignore that. So as a trans woman, like people expect me to be like hyper feminine and be behaving like this and be looking like this, and I'm just like, you know, fuck all of this. Like I know that I have quite a masculine expression. I wouldn't say like very masculine, but like quite masculine expression. And it doesn't make me any less of a woman, and it doesn't have anything to do with my gender. Like it may have to do something with my genes or whatever, but my gender, my expression doesn't matter. Like it doesn't matter. There is trans women that are like very feminine, there is trans women that are not so feminine, and then there is trans women that are like quite masculine, and that doesn't make them any less women. I don't know, it's just so basic to me, but I know a lot of people like keep going on about like chromosomes and your genetics and oh my god, like fucking, oh, what do you have underneath your pants and shit like that, and I'm like, oh my god, like that doesn't matter, that's so intrusive, that's transphobic, and you know, it's just bullshit. So basically, like all these biological ideas, it's just rubbish, just fucking rubbish, and it's dressed up as science, and it's just a way of like backing up some pernicious ideas, but it's nothing more. It's just fucking trash. Like it means nothing. It's bullshit. Also, talking about feminism, another thing that really pisses me off is when people go, you know, fight in the streets. Like if you stay at home, then you know you're not actively protesting, or you're not actively like supporting women's rights and stuff like that. It really pisses me off, because they don't think that there is actually some women that can't leave their home to go in the street, like because of their physical or their mental conditions or whatever, but they just can't, and it doesn't make their fight or their existence any less valid. So yeah, the whole thing about like, oh, go in the street and with a fucking big banner like shouting, yeah, that's super cool. But if you can't because of your like mental health or your physical health, that's totally fine, and that's something people need to know and need to understand, because you know there is so many people that struggle with so much shit and they just can't go in the street like shouting and you know rioting and stuff. Like that's super cool, but it's okay if you can't, or you know, and it doesn't have to be only for like physical or mental issues. It can also be for survival. Like some women, whether that's cis or trans, like they can't go in the street because of survival. Like because if they do, then they're likely to, you know, to be attacked by their families or by other people. You know, not everyone can just go in the street. Not everyone is safe in the street, like protesting for the rights that we need, that we should have, and that's also okay. Also, I find that, like I said, that feminism nowadays is well, the like the current feminism is mainly focused on white women cis women, straight women, without intersectional. Oh my god. Feminism without intersectionality is nothing. It's just bullshit. And also, specifically for trans women, we have the rights that we have now, today, thanks to trans women of color. That's what I don't like about, well, I don't like many things about RuPaul Drag Race, but also like about general drag, because now it's mainly cis white men wearing like feminine clothes. And they're just, reinforcing the idea that, that men have to dress this way, women have to dress this way, and they're not even trans, they're just men, that cis men, just, wearing a dress and wearing a wig, and what pisses me off, like, really fucking bad, is that, people don't have any problem with it when a drag person goes in a, in a female's toilet, even if people know that he's more likely to be a man. People don't have any problem with him going in the female's toilet because he's wearing a wig and he's wearing like lipstick and makeup and fucking long dress and shit and heels, and they don't have any problem with them going in the female's toilet. But as long as I appear there with my beard and without fucking dresses and all that stuff, they're like, oh, you look like a man, so you're not allowed in here. And I'm like, what the fuck? So like what I'm trying to do like on a daily basis is just destroy all these gender roles about like, if you're a woman you have to behave like this, you have to look like this, you have to dress like this, you have to physically you have to have long hair, no beard, no facial hair. So like cis women, but like amplified. So by me wearing a beard and like not wearing like too many like feminine clothes and shit, I'm like trying to destroy all these gender roles that are imposed on every one of us. And then again, a cis man goes in a female toilet and people have no problem with that, like not at all. Or even addressing them, like they just go, she's so funny, like she's not a she, it's a he. But then I come up and they're like, oh no, like obviously he's a boy because he's got a beard and he's not wearing a dress or he is not wearing heels or anything like that. So and people question me, and even inside the community, because there is a lot of internalized transphobia, and there is so much bullshit inside the trans community, to be honest. Like even people inside degrade other people, other trans people, based on what they look like. Like if say somebody is being like transitioning, which obviously is totally fine when trans people want to transition if they can. If they have transitioned, say for 2 years, then they're at this level, and then they reach this level when they have been transitioning for like 5 years or whatever, and that's so messed up because it just makes this like a competition, and it reinforces again gender roles that we have to adjust to. And again, in my case, I'm able to, like, for different reasons, like personal, social, and like many reasons, not to be forced to transition and adjust myself to these gender roles about being a woman. Like if you are a woman, then you have to prove it to us, so you have to act like ladylike, and you have to dress ladylike, and you have to do this, and you have to do that, and you have to look like this, and you have to dress this way. So in my case, I am able to say fuck that, and I'm just gonna dress the way I want, I'm gonna look the way I want, I'm gonna behave the way I want, and But then again, obviously, I understand when, in this case, like when trans women like have too much social pressure, and they just have this need to go through transition to be more like to be accepted by society, because otherwise they're just not accepted. So obviously I understand and I totally respect trans people that want to go through transition, but people need to understand that not every trans person wants to go through transition, and even when they want to, some people can't because they don't have the resources or because of simple survival. Like if a trans person in certain family wants to transition and they state it, like they may get killed, like plain as that, like plain and simple, like they may get killed, or not even by their family, just in the street. Like if somebody is openly trans and wants to start with the transitioning process and everything, in some places or in some families, like they're likely to get killed or beaten up, or so they just can't, even if they want to. So I guess I'm lucky because like I could have the chance to go through the process and shit, but I just choose not to. And I actually started, but then I started learning that gender is just a social construct. So fuck this. Like I don't need anyone to tell me that I'm a woman or a man. I'm no binary. I know I'm a woman. I don't have to prove it to anyone. So fuck this. I'm just gonna be the way I am. I'm gonna dress the way I like and everything else. But some people are not like that. But not because they're like weaker or anything. It's just for hundreds of reasons. Like I've always had the support of my family. Even though at first like they didn't quite understand, but that's kind of understandable. But they were never like aggressive, and my circle of friends, like they've always been so supportive, so I didn't have any trouble with that either. And then because I live in Brighton, like it's not the safest place, especially for trans people and especially for non-conforming trans people like me, but it is quite safe. Like objectively, it is quite safe. Like if I went to Russia tomorrow, I'd get killed, like in one day, like bam, like for a fact. So I have like many factors that have protected me not to be forced to transition. Even if like in the past, like 3 years ago, when I found out my true identity, like I did want to go through transition, and I actually started, but then in the end, like looking at it objectively, it just messes up with your mind, it messes up your body, it can go real wrong. So I just encourage like all the trans people not to be forced to go through transition, but then obviously, yeah, like I said, like I understand people that want to go through transition because otherwise they just live in constant hell, and obviously I support that as well. But based on the fact that every trans person that transitions does so because of social pressure, because of these constructs that people have created, I encourage them not to be forced to fall into these concepts of like what you have to do and look like and dress like and blah 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 to be recognized and acknowledged. Also talking about are you fucking kidding me? So going back to the scientific research and all that crap, like it's said to like for individuals who have XX chromosomes to be females, and then for individuals who have XY chromosomes to be males. But actually, like there is some individuals with XY chromosomes that actually have a vagina, as well as there is some individuals with XX chromosomes that have a penis and testicles. So all this, like again, supports everything that I'm saying about theory to be just bullshit. And this development begins with a small group of cells called the bipotential primordium, and it's linked to intersex people. Who, for those who don't know, like intersex people have traits of like both kinds of genitalia, so like penis and vagina. And based on this theory about like, oh, if you have if you have a penis, you're a man. If you have a vagina, you're a woman. Then what about intersex people? Like, what are they? So basically, all this is just to justify my point of view that, you know, it's not really a point of view. It's a fucking fact that gender is nothing to do with chromosomes, with what you have under your pants, nothing like that. Gender identity is one thing. The rest is just fucking flesh, or it has to do with the structure of your brain. It has to do with your height. It has to do with your weight, but it's not linked at all to gender. All the rest of the characteristics of the traits associated to gender arise later. Like, it can be from hormones, social environment, experience, and genes interacting with each other. Oh shit. And it also leaves behind, like, it leaves aside non-binary people, because, you know, if you're only talking about, you know, male chromosomes, female chromosomes, XY or XSY, or XX chromosomes, like to talk about individuals and to put them in boxes like male or female, then what about non-binary people? Because that's another thing about me talking before about like white feminism. So many cultures, like non-white cultures, have always believed in more than two genders. Like, my binarism is a very white thing. So what about non-binary people? What about gender fluid people? Like, they don't exist again. But then, yeah, you go in the street and you hear a lot of people saying, oh, there's you know, it used to be only male and female, but now they come up with all these genders, and what is the next gender gonna be? I'm a table because they identify as a table. Like, don't fucking joke about that, because some people like really struggle. Like, they need to have these terms, because otherwise they don't fit in this world. They don't have a place. If they don't have a name, they don't exist. I'm a bitch, I'm a boss. I'm a bitch and a boss, I'm a shine like glass. I'm a bitch, I'm a boss. I'm a bitch. And yeah, as I was saying like earlier, I'm just mixing up everything. Like, I'm a fucking mess. Obviously, like, most trans people want to go through transition because it's like really fucking hard. And I tell you because I live with it. To not adjust yourself to these concepts of what it is to be a woman living in this world, because everything has a gender, and if you don't adjust to these ideas of what it means to be a female or a male or a non-binary person, then you're not acknowledged, and then you get attacked and you're likely to get killed. So, like, for example, like, every time I go to a female's toilet, like, almost every time, like, there is some other females like looking at me weird, questioning me, or even like aggressively saying, oh, you're not allowed in here, go to the boys, blah, blah, blah. So, like, if you ask me, because, you know, we all know men are dangerous, so if you think I'm a man for whatever reason, then I mean, it's okay to ask me, because, yeah, again, men are dangerous, and if somebody thinks I'm a man and I'm in such a private place like a toilet, then obviously I understand why somebody would get anxious if they think I'm a man in a ladies' toilet. But then other times they just shout at you, they even hit you, you know, they kick you out, and you have to be proving your fucking identity, which is so fucked up. Because I was lucky enough to get my documentation like changed, like my gender, I got rid of my dead name and all that. But what about the people that can't get their documentation changed? Like, there are still, in this case, women. Like, we shouldn't be having to prove our identity, and that's linked to the whole like drug movement. Like, nowadays, like, if somebody who is a man, and obviously they know, and obviously he knows that he's a man, and people know that he's a cis man with a wig and with a dress and with whatever, goes in the female toilet, like, nobody even questions that, nobody says anything, and like, everyone is happy with it. If I go in the female toilet and after I say, I know I'm a female, like, sometimes, most times I get an apologize, like, you know, I'm, oh, sorry, I didn't know, and that's it, and that's fine. But other times I just get, you know, there's one day I got like this lady looking at my crotch and saying, oh, can you prove it? And I was like, what the fuck? Like, I don't have to prove anything to you. And again, like, a piece of flesh is not gonna prove anything. And again, I don't have to prove shit to you. And other times, even after I showed my ID with the F, as in female, the security guard in Brighton, the security guard kept going, oh, you look like a man, so like we have our roles, the same way you have your roles in your house, we have our roles in this club, blah blah, so you're not allowed in the female toilet. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, when I talked to your manager, like, what the fuck? And it's so messed up, because in my case I was lucky because I had my ID with the F, but some people just can't get it because it takes so long, or again because of survival, like they can't openly say, you know, you think I'm a man, but I've actually always been a woman. And they're valid as well, so it really fucking pisses me off because I shouldn't be proving anything, firstly, and second off, like, there's some people that can't get their documentation in order, like, according to their actual gender, so it's really fucked up. But the fact is that since the moment we were born, like in my case, I've always socialized as a woman. When I was a kid, like, probably I knew I was a girl, but like, it was like in my subconscious. But I've always socialized as a girl. When you're born, like, obviously you have no idea about gender because, you know, it's as it's something that's been created, that's been constructed. Obviously you don't know shit about it, but then they start with the bullshit about, oh, boys have to wear blue, girls have to wear pink. Obviously if you're a boy you have to like girls, if you're a girl you have to like boys, and all that bullshit. But then something that not many people know is that we actually form our identities when we're like 5-6 years old at most. Like, we know our identity back there, but then we suppress it and we just don't know, like, consciously know until like we are like way older, and then we interact with like other trans people and we start to like study about, like, educating ourselves about gender. But yeah, we actually know since we're like 5 years old, 6 years old, but it's just something that's suppressed because they're always like telling you, you have a penis, you're a boy, you have a beard, you're a boy, you have to get like girls, like you have to be straight, blah blah. And so you start thinking that's normal, and you start like developing all these like internalized transphobia, LGBT phobia, homophobia, and so on, racism and everything, all of that. But when you're born, obviously you don't know shit about race and about gender, about sexual orientation, and that would be the ideal world, like to live in a society that doesn't know anything about gender, anything about race, anything about you know, disabilities, like mental or physical. But we do live in a world that's designed like that, so we can't just erase it and we can't just ignore it. And it's something that personally I don't think it's gonna change anytime soon. Do you say that? If you are a trans woman of color, then you are estimated to live only for 35 years. Only for that, like not counting with like diseases or anything else. Just if you're a trans woman of color, you're only like expected to live for 35 years. Maybe due to suicide, maybe due to you know, murder, maybe due to like many things, but yeah, it's only fucking 35 years. So then for like cis people to go, oh, you know, they're not trans, they're only like trying to seek attention and shit like that. So see how much it affects somebody who's trans not to be acknowledged. So yeah, sorry if I haven't been very clear, but I'm just so fucking tired. Like, I need to take a nap or something. But I just saw so many like videos and like people talking about like feminism these days, and I was like, this is so wrong, like this is so fucked up, that I felt like I had to do something, because it's just wrong. If I haven't explained myself correctly, like at some point or whatever, like you can drop a message and I'll like contact you or whatever. And yeah, so basically the overview of this video would be that sex is not binary, trans people are real, and if you want to be a feminist or a feminist ally, because I would make another video about that, but yeah, men can't be feminists. They can't be allies, but they can't be feminists. So stop fucking putting a medal and a badge like on your fucking top, because it doesn't work like that. Like, you are the problem. You are the fucking root of the problem. So shut the fuck up, listen to us, and and support us, and that's all you can do. And fucking stop imposing cis ideas on trans people, because it just forces them to want to go through transition and to fucking hate themselves. Like, it doesn't happen to me so much anymore, because I have learned to accept the way I am, and I have learned that all these gender roles that I have been talking about are bullshit. It's easier for me to like look in the mirror and be like, I have a female beard, I have a female penis, but it's not like that for all the trans people. So fucking stop imposing cis norm on trans people, please. Like, stop. Like, if a trans man is happy with his boobs, then it's a guy with some boobs and a vagina. Like, get fucking over it. Like, it doesn't mean shit. So yeah, from here I also want to encourage all trans people not to feel like the pressure or to feel forced to adjust themselves to the cis norm, and to like having to go through the whole transition process and all that. But also, obviously, know that I understand the struggle, like I really do, obviously. And I'm here to support you in any way that I can. So if you have like any question, any like struggle of any kind or anything, feel free to contact me, and I'll help you as best as I can.
All girls party and no boys can come.